Okay, I now want to give you guys a couple tips about how to put the holes in. If you remember, one of the requirements, one of the constraints of the project is that you're going to have these holes, and you have an option of 6 to 8 of them. You have an option of what the spacing between the holes would be, so long as you keep things symmetrical, right? So the holes have to all be aligned up on AA here, and they have to be symmetrical about the midline. So let's talk about how to make these holes and some ways that would be harder than others. First thing is, if you were to try to lay down these holes directly on this curved surface, it would be somewhat problematic, right? So the fact that this is curved at this point is going to cause us some problems from a modeling standpoint. So what I would recommend doing is that you roll back the model. If you remember, we have a rollback feature over here with our little hand grippy. Okay, roll back to the flat surface, and then after we put the holes in the flat surface, then we can allow SolidWorks to execute all the way through the part and put those curves in. So that's tip number one, pro tip number one here, roll back. I would use the hole wizard feature in SolidWorks to create those countersunk holes. I mentioned before that what we have here is essentially the generic conditions for a loose fit M4 hole. So we're going to go ahead and use the hole wizard. So what the hole wizard is going to let you do is pick the hole type. So here we are, I want to countersink. I've got all kinds of screw options. You want ANSI metric is the standard that we're going with, size M4, and then your fit options, loose would be, that would give you the dimensions that we're looking for in that drawing. End condition is going to be through all, and now it's a matter of picking your positions. Okay, so you would select the face that you're operating on, and now you can lock down where exactly you want those holes to be. I'm going to put one right at center for a second here, and then remind you that you've got all kinds of tools at your disposal to allow you to replicate this feature. Okay, so this put the exact countersink that we want, right? It's going to be a slightly loose fit, so that screw that we're going to put in there is going to be allowed to go in at slightly different angles, which is going to be important from a clinical perspective on our plate design. So now what we're going to do is, I would recommend a linear pattern from here. So if I want to make multiple holes, linear pattern, it knows I want to deal with this screw hole here. So, you know, you could go in X, right? You could set, I want 2 additional holes on this side, right? Or 4, you could set the spacing. Right? Then you've got mirror functions that we can also use, right, to allow yourself to very quickly get those planes of symmetry, right? Okay, again, when I'm happy with what I've got here, I've done these holes on the flat plate just so I don't have to deal with that curved surface. I would just simply roll forward and get the curve there.